Boker Tov, good morning. Bezat Hashem, we are doing Daf Yomi, Masechet Avodah Zarah, Daf Nun Tet Amud Aleph, 59a. So we were discussing yesterday about how Resh Lakish, he went to a city and he saw them doing certain things and he told them it was okay. Rabbi Yochanan told them go right away, tell them it's go right away and change what you told them. So one of the things that he told them over there was he saw that they were public one. They were bowing down to water. Whoa. Okay, and I think Resh Lakish told them. Um, he saw them bowing down to water, and he told the people that it's asur to drink that water. Rabbi Yochanan told them, go back and tell them that it's going to be that the water is mutal, that they're allowed to drink the water. Okay, so says the Gemara. Why? Because it's Maim Shel Rabim. It belongs to the public, and the goy can't make, even if he makes it Avodah Zarah, if he bows down to this water, he can't make it Avodah Zarah. Okay, so it's not going to be Asur Be'ana'ah. So the Gemara says, Umayim Shel Rabim En Nesarin, the waters of the public cannot be made forbidden. Rabbi Yochanan etameh. Rabbi Yochanan goes according to his reasoning. Why? And we're now on the top of Nun Tet Amud Aleph. The Amar Rabbi Yochanan mishum Rabbi Shimon ben Yoed Tzadok. Maim shel Rabim en nesarin. The waters of the public do not become asur, cannot become forbidden. Hadi yachid nesarin. Says the Gemara. Okay, but what about if it's private water? Meaning it's in the non-Jew's backyard. Can he now make it asur? So it says the Gemara, says, wait a second, but it's mechubar. We know that if a non-Jew bows down to a mountain, does the mountain become asur?
It's attached to the
No,
ground.
it's attached. So you can make it asur. Okay, so the same thing should be with the water.
Property.
Exactly. So the water should be mutar, even if it's in his private property. Why? Because it's attached to the ground. Says the Gemara, lo tzricha detalishnu gala. That what happened? There was a wave that got detached. So therefore, since it's not quote unquote attached to the water because it's a wave that's outside of the water. So therefore, that's how it can be asul if it's in a private property. So, says the Gemara, sof sof avnei har shenidaldelu ninhu tistayem de Rabbi Yochanan de Amar asurot. So says the Gemara, if this is the case, if this is the halakha that he says that a wave that detaches can be made asul, so if so, says the Gemara, you want to compare it to a previous case that we were learning in the previous dapim, that what happens if you have a stone that detaches itself from the mountain and it rolls down, now it's detached, right? Can it be made avodah zarah or no? Why? Because maybe we're going to say, listen, it was part of the mountain, it detached naturally, it detached on its own, so maybe it's going to still be considered like it's attached to the mountain, and then it wouldn't be asul, even if a non-Jew bows down to it. Or maybe no, since it's detached, it should be asul. Now, says the Gemara, based on what we just said, that a wave that detaches can be made asul, so the same thing should be true with a stone that detaches from the mountain, and then we can say, oh, Rabbi Yochanan has an opinion that says that such a case would be asur. Okay? Says the Gemara, lo tzricha ditapchinhu biyadei. Says the Gemara, no. We don't want to get involved with this. Don't make too many problems for us. The case of the water was what? Where he hit the water with his hand, the wave went up, and then he bowed down to the wave. So meaning when the wave detached, it was because of an action that was happened, and then therefore, if you want to compare it to a case of a mountain, it's going to be where the person cut off the rock from the mountain, and that for sure can be made avodah zarah. Okay, says the Gemara, Rabbi Chia bar Abba ikla legavla. Okay, so he came to this place called Gavla. Chaza benot Yisrael de mi'abran mi'ovdei kochavim shemalu velo tavu. He saw that there were Jewish girls that were getting pregnant from non-Jews that circumcised, but they didn't go to the mikveh. So meaning to say that they didn't go through the full conversion process. Why? Because we know you have to get circumcised plus go to the mikveh in order to convert. Now says the Gemara, another thing that he saw over there, Chaza, he saw Chamra de Mazgu of de Kochavim, Veshatu Israel, that there was wine, the Jews were holding the wine, and the non-Jews were diluting the wine. Okay. Chaza, another thing that he saw, Turmusa, the shalki lihu of de kochavim, ve'ach Israel. The turmusin, I don't know what it is exactly in English.
Beans that a certain variety required extensive cooking.
Exactly. So it's in English. I don't know what it is, but the concept, and this is also brought down in Hilchot Shabbat, that it's something that needs to be cooked a very long time in order to make it fit for eating. I know there are some types of palm trees that have that as well. That have that they have like a small fruit that comes from it, and in order to be able to be fit for eating, you need to cook them for 24 hours. For 24 hours they need to be boiled in order to eat them. I saw there was a type of fruit like that they huh? Yeah, yeah. That's the tulmusin. The tulmusin are the beans, but I know that there's another fruit that has that concept even today.
Talking about hearts of palm.
No, hearts of palm is the actual tree itself. But this is a type of it's a palm tree that has fruits. Okay, it's mostly in South America that they do this. If I'm not mistaken, in Brazil, that it's like a fruit that they have that in order to be able to eat it, they need to do 24 hours of cooking. And they were able to shorten the process by using a pressure cooker, but the point is that it needs a lot of bishurim, and this is exactly what the tulmusin are. But it's in a bean. Okay, so he saw that the non-Jews were cooking these let's call it legumes, or I don't know, whatever it was, beans, okay, and they were eating the Jews. Velo amar lehu velo midi, and he didn't tell them anything, meaning he saw these three things and he didn't tell them anything. Ata lekame de Rabbi Yochanan, he came before Rabbi Yochanan, amar le, and Rabbi Yochanan told him, Tse ve'achrez al benehem she'en mamzirim, go back to that place quickly and tell them that all these children that were born from the Jewish mothers but the non-Jewish fathers are all mamzerim.
Dios mío.
Huh?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we'll see. The Gemara is going to explain. It's not really mamzelim, but we're going to see. V'al yenam, and go tell them that their wine that was diluted mishum yain esech. It's asur because of yain esech. V'al turmusan, and on those beans mishum bishule of de kochavim, that it's going to be asur because of a non-Jew's cooking. Okay, there's halakha we learned previously as well, that if a non-Jew cooks something, it's going to be asur b'achila. There are exceptions to this rule. Exactly, but that's how it is. Why? All these three things. Mishum she'enam b'nei Torah. Because they are not b'nei Torah, that's why you're going to have to go tell them these things. Says the Gemara, al b'neihem she'en mamzerim. On their children that are mamzerim. How can they be mamzerim? Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan letameh. Rabbi Yochanan goes according to his reasoning. Rabbi Yochanan says, le'olam eno ger ad she'imol ve'itbol. A person does not become a convert until he does the Brit Milah and he goes to the mikveh. V'kivan shelo tavil, and since he didn't go to the mikveh yet, Oved Kochavimu is considered to be a non-Jew. Ve'amar Rabba bar Chana amar Rabbi Yochanan, and Rabba bar Chana says in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Oved Kochavim ve'eved habal bat Israel. If a non-Jew or a slave have relations with a Jewish girl, Havlad mamzer. So there is a one opinion that says it like that. Now the halacha obviously of today is not like that. The halacha of today is that what any child born from one of the isurei karet in the Torah, okay, so that's going to be like his sister, mother, a married woman, Hashem Yishmo, any of the relatives that are written in the Torah, any of those are going to be mamzer. The rest are not mamzer, but they're not. It's not the best.
I think Rabbi Akiva has a more broad definition, maybe.
That?
And it's not just karas, it's prohibited. He has a broader definition of mamzer.
No, so
he's making it up.
No, so that's the halacha. The halacha is basically that anything that is karet, with the exception of nida, okay, because nida, if a person is with nida, it's also karet. But anything besides for nida that has karet in the Torah, this is gonna the child that comes from this is gonna be mamzer. So take for example a kohen with a grusha, with a divorcee. The isul is not karet. So even if he's with her, it's not gonna make the son a karet. To an unmarried couple, okay, there's no karet involved if they're not married, right? So the child if a child that can be born from there is not gonna be called a mamzer. If a person cheats with a married woman, the vlad is a mamzer. Why? Because to be with a married woman is mamzer is karet. So that's gonna be same thing with any of the forbidden relations, parashat Acharei Mot and parashat Kedoshim, both of them over there. Any of those relations are gonna be karet.
Your mother-in-law, your sister.
Yeah, but if you become karet and then you have a relation.
No, if the person is mamzer
from an avera that.
No, that has nothing to do. It only has to do with
between the relation. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so says the Gemara. So Rabbi Yochanan is the opinion that even if it's a goy or a slave that's with a Jewish woman, the vlad is still mamzer. That's his opinion. Top. He said that their wine is going to be asur because of yain nesech. Why? Mishum lech lech amrina nezira secho secho lekarma lo tikrav. Like we said yesterday, that we tell the nazir, someone that's nazir, don't get close to the vineyards. Why? Because not that it's asur, but we don't want you to become to do nisul chas v'shalom. So the same thing over here. Don't allow the non-Jew to dilute the wine so that he doesn't come to pour you the wine also. V'al turmusan mishum bishulei akum, and we said because of the turmus that becomes asur because of bishulei akum. Why? Lifi shenan bnei Torah, because they're not bnei Torah. Says the Gemara. Ta'ama, the reason is the inan bnei Torah, because they're not bnei Torah. Ha bnei Torah shari, but if they would be bnei Torah, it would be allowed. V'hama Rav Shmuel bar Rav Yitzchak. Amar Rav, kol shenechal kemot shu chai. And bo mishum bishulei ovdei kochavim, says anything that can be eaten raw, there's no problem of bishulei akum. But if it can't be eaten raw, and this turmusin can be eaten raw, so then it should be asur because of bishulei akum. And you just said that the only reason why it's asur is because they're not bnei Torah. But that sounds like if they are bnei Torah, it should be allowed. But we just said no. Says the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan ki hachli shna svirale. Rabbi Yochanan holds like this opinion that says what? The Amar Rav Shmuel bar Yitzchak Amar Rav kol she'eno ole al shulchan menachim lelapet bo et apat en bo mishum bishulei akum. So he says anything that is not fit to go on a king's table to accompany bread, there's no problem of bishulei akum. So for example, if you're gonna have a food that's not like a respectable food, there's no, even if a goy cooks it, it's not going to be a problem of bishul akum. Okay? Says the Gemara. Ta'ama, the reason why Rabbi Yochanan said it was asur in that case was why? Mishum de'enan b'nei Torah, because they are not b'nei Torah. Ha b'nei Torah, shari, but if they would be b'nei Torah, it would be allowed. Why? Because they would know this halakha and they would understand that there are certain things that even though they look like they would be bishulei akum, they're not because of this particular halakha. Okay? Says the Gemara. Ba'u minei merav kahana. Oved kochavim, what's the halacha? Can a non-Jew bring grapes to the wine press? Why? Because when he's bringing it, it's for sure that there's going to be some juice that came out of it, and maybe the whole thing is now going to be asur because of yain nesech. Says the Gemara. Amar lehu asur. It's going to be asur. Why? Mishum lech lech amrein nezira sechol sechol lekarma lo tikrav. We tell the nazir, don't get close to the vineyard. Once again, to flanten from the avera. Okay. Eitive Rav Yemar le Rav Kahana. So Rav Yemar asked Rav Kahana a question. Oved kochavim shivi anavim legat besalin uv uvdar durin. Okay. So if a non-Jew brings the grapes in baskets or in small casks, okay, where it's basically for sure that the wine is, that there's grape juice over there. Afal pi she'ayan mizalef alehen, even if the wine is flowing over them, okay, mutar, it's gonna be mutar. So we see that this is asur. Why? Sorry. Rav Kahana said it was asur, but here we see clearly that it's gonna be mutar. Answers the Gemara. Amar le hevi ka'amart. Do you tell me? Ana lechatchila ka'amina. Are you trying to tell me that basically what he's saying is when I said asur that he shouldn't do it to begin with. Meaning, if you're coming to ask me the question, can a non-Jew do this? I'm going to tell you asul. Why? And it said it very clearly in the Gemara, because we tell him we don't want him to get close to the want him to get close to the Avera. But if he already brought it, did I say it's asul? I didn't say it's asul. So the Mishnah, when the Mishnah, you brought me a question from the Mishnah. You said, look, it's going to say it's mutar over there. Yeah, no problem. Over there, it's going to be mutar. Why? Because he already did it. Okay, but when I said it's asul, I said it's asul so that you shouldn't come to do the Avera. Okay? Hahu etroga denafal lechavita dechamra. There was a story that an etrog fell into a barrel of wine. Idre ovdei kochavim ve'shalke. So the non-Jew, what did he do? He put his hand inside quickly to grab the etrog from the wine. Okay? Amar lehu Rav Ashi niktuha lidei ki hechidelo leshachshech be. Quickly grab his hand so that he shouldn't move his hand and come to shake the wine, and then it's going to make it yain nesech. Uvartzuha ad shaifa, and pour the wine until it goes basically below the non-Jew's hand. Meaning, pour out the wine. Whatever he touched is going to be asul, but everything else is going to be mutar. Okay, now says the Gemara, Amar Rav Ashi, Hai ovde et kochavim, dinaske lechamre di Israel bechavana. If a non-Jew made yain nesech for a Jew, bechavana, with intention, on purpose. Afagav dilizabune leoved kochavim achina asur. Even though you cannot sell it to another non-Jew, sharele lemishkal deme meahu oved kochavim. But however, he is allowed to take money from this non-Jew, meaning the non-Jew that made it asul, he's allowed to take the money from him for whatever his loss was. Says the Gemara, Maitama, what's the reason? Mikla kalye, because he was the one that basically burnt it. He is the one that basically made the wine asul. Okay? Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Ashi, Mina aminala. From where do I know this halacha? Tanya, we taught in a Braita, Oved Kochavim, Shenasach Yeno Shel Israel, Shelo Bifnei Oved Kochavim. If a non-Jew poured wine of a Jew, not in front of Oved Kochavim, asul, it's going to be asul. We learned previously, it was, I think it was yesterday, that if a non-Jew pours wine, in order for it to be fully yain nesech, it has to be in front of the idol. If he didn't pour it in front of the idol, so then it's going to be asul, but it's not going to be yain nesech. Okay? Now, when is yain nesech fully yain nesech, even not in front of the idol? If the non-Jew shakes it. So that's when it's going to be asul. Okay? So says the Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda ben Bava, Rabbi Yehuda ben Betera matirin. They say why? Mishum shnei dvarim, because of two things. Echad, she'en menaschin yain ela bifnei oved kochavim, like what we just said, that you cannot make yain nesech unless it's right in front of the oved kochavim. Ve'echad, she'omer lo kol ha'menach te'aser yeni leonsi. This one isn't yours that you can try to make it asul. Who are you to come and try to make my wine asul? So the combination of the two reasons, he says it's going to allow him at least to get his money back. Okay? There was a barrel of wine that the spout, it came off. Okay? Ata oved kochavim idre anach yade al ilave. What did the non-Jew do? He right away he came and he put his hand over there to stop the wine from coming out. Amar Rav Papa, kol delehade barzar chamra asir. Anything that is by the actual hole is going to be asul. V'idach shari, and everything else is going to be
How do you determine
mutar.
that, Rabbi?
So basically, what you're going to do is you're gonna let whatever's there directly to flow out right away, and then the Jew can come and close it back afterwards. Meaning, whatever is going to flow out right away is what's going to be asul. The rest is going to be mutar, Be'ezrat Hashem. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen. Amen.